When did your best friend decide they were your enemy? I was pulled out of class by the principal, who asked to speak with me privately. He said this was an urgent meeting, and if I refused, I would be expelled immediately. I immediately knew this was about Briley. She and I had been inseparable for 16 years, and last month she got pregnant. Her parents flipped out when they found out. They wanted her to get an abortion and threatened to kick her out if she kept the baby. So Briley moved in with her grandmother. I spent every day after school with her looking at baby name websites and helping her every way I could. But something weird happened at lunch the day before the principal came to get me. Our friend Tiara pulled me aside and whispered that someone should push Briley down the stairs so she would miscarry. She said it would solve all of Briley's problems, and her parents would take her back. I told Tiara, "You're not Dr. Doom," that was the most messed up thing I'd ever heard, and she needed to stay away from Briley if she was thinking like that. Well, Principal Porter led me to the conference room, and that's where I saw Briley sitting at the table sobbing. Tiara was there too. 2 police officers stood by the door and my legs started shaking. Briley wouldn't look at me and kept her hands pressed against her small baby bump like she was protecting it. Before I could ask what was happening, Tiara started talking. She told everyone I'd come to her with a plan to push Briley down the stairs. She said I was jealous that Briley was getting all this attention for being pregnant. She claimed I'd been talking about it for days and even researched which staircase would cause the most damage so her belly would go splat. My mouth fell open as Tiara kept lying. She showed them text messages that were completely taken out of context. The one where I said "that's terrible" in response to her suggestion now looked like I was agreeing with something. She deleted her own messages about pushing Briley and made it seem like I brought up the whole idea. Briley suddenly erupted and started hitting Tiara with her notebook. She was screaming that Tiara was a liar and trying to hurt her baby. The officers had to separate them while Principal Porter tried to restore order. Tiara had tears streaming down her face, acting like she was traumatized by having to report her friend's violent plans. I tried to explain what really happened, but nobody would let me talk. Every time I opened my mouth, Principal Porter held up his hand and said we needed to wait for my parents. I kept looking at Briley, hoping she would tell them the truth, but she was hyperventilating and couldn't catch her breath. The school nurse had to come check her blood pressure. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and stood up to speak. I told them about Tiara's actual suggestion at lunch and how I'd defended Briley. I explained that Tiara must have been jealous or crazy to make up these lies. I begged Briley to remember all our years of friendship and tell them I would never hurt her or her baby. Briley finally looked at me with red, swollen eyes. For a second, I thought she was going to tell the truth. Then she opened her mouth and said she didn't know what to believe anymore. She said I'd been acting weird since she got pregnant and maybe Tiara was right. My best friend of 16 years was choosing to believe lies over everything we'd been through together. Principal Porter stood up and said they had to take this threat seriously. "You need to pick up your things because the police are here to escort you out," he said. "You pose a threat to the baby and we can't allow you near Briley or on school grounds until this is resolved." I stood in shock, and that night my phone buzzed with a text. Tiara sent me a smiley face. Full story on channel link below.